Inventory is going up, so why aren't buyers rushing back in? That's the question everyone is quietly asking right now. We are seeing more homes come on the market months after months, but buyer urgency still hasn't shown up the way many expected. Even with better rates, more options, buyers are still hesitating. They are slower, more selective, and more cautious. That hesitation matters because when inventory keeps rising but demand doesn't accelerate, the seller momentum starts to fade. Homes take longer to sell, price power weakens, negotiation shift. The real story is happening beneath the surface, and we are going to find out today. So let's look at the data. The first information that we are going to tell you today is actually the inventory growth, something that we need to put on the table right away. When we compare to 2025, okay, the start of 2026 mixed with some important information. Inventory specifically grow 5.5%. This is an active listing compared to the previous year so far. In 2025, we have 9% growth. Today, we have 5.5% growth. That means the supply is still rising. But the good news here is this. It's not as aggressive as 2025. More homes are actually gone the contract, actually 14.7% stronger than the early of 2025. So that means buyers are active, but selective. They take more time to choose the home. They take more time. Even though there's still a lot of buyers, obviously, in the pending sale, it take longer time for them to select the house that they want. The market is, homes go on and go off market. The contract ratio is improving faster than last year, showing a healthier improvement between listing and the buyers. Now, what is still not so great, okay? The closed sale, regardless of 14.7% more pending sale, the closed sales is actually down 24% compared to the drop in 2025 of 15%. So inventory is still higher than the year ago, even though the gap is shrinking between inventory and demand, right? There are still more homes for sale than last January. The year started slow in 2026. It's slow. The market entered 2026 is actually colder than it did in 2025 and only recently caught up. Some of this is normal. Okay, January is actually, as you know, January is always slow, especially a lot of home buyers try to close the deal in December already to finish the year, right? Otherwise, they have to wait. So they finish the year in December already. So a lot of people, actually think about it. A home when it's go under contract is actually not closed until 30 days later. So around December 15, if a house closed in the first 1 or 2 weeks of January, they have to be, under contract around the first or 2 weeks of December. And that is after Thanksgiving. That is before Christmas. So a lot of people do not want to be under contract during that time, right? Because it's a busy timeline. That's the reason why January is normally less closed number than December or February. In fact, February, we expect gonna be more activity, more closing than usual. Okay, we're gonna keep watching on that. Next, let's look at the interest rate, okay? The mortgage interest rate is about 6.1% today, okay? Compared to previous year is actually 7% the same time of the year. This is actually a huge improvement. From 7 to 6.1%, the difference in monthly payment could be about $300 to $400 on a house per month. So that's a lot. That's a $3,600 that the homeowner save every single year. This is a big improvement. But here's the thing, the buyer demand hasn't jumped the way people expected yet. So why people are hesitating? Let's show something else besides interest rate. A lot of people say when the interest rate, goes down, they're gonna jump back in the market. But this is already down. 7 to 6.1% is already down. So why aren't they come in right away? So here's a couple of reasons. Some people are still waiting for a lower price. Now, they are hoping that the market is crashing and the lower price is going to come into the picture because they compare, hey, it's just 4 years ago, this same house is like 200, 300,000. Now it's like 400, 500,000. It doesn't make sense for them to come into the market. The second group of people is actually they're waiting for the interest rate to further drop. They're not going to act until the interest rate is 4 to 5%. And actually, they're waiting for that magical number come up again because just 4 or 5 years ago it's actually 2%, 3%. So it doesn't make sense for them if they has been watching the market to pay 6.1% today. The last is the job security and the economy. With a lot of things happening in the world and especially around the US state right now, there's a lot of uncertainty and some people do not feeling good about the current economy and the current job situation in the US. Now, those are the three reasons, but I want to put in my thought in this, okay? Waiting for a lower price and waiting for the rate to drop is a very, very risky waiting, because we are waiting, but we are not sure whether it goes up or whether it goes down or not. What if it go up? So for example, the price compared to previous year, it still go up a little bit, up 2.5%. So we've been talking about the pricing as well. 2.5% increase year over year is not that much, but it's still a positive. So for those of you who are waiting for, a lower price, perhaps you have to wait for a very long time. Well, in this situation, what if it goes down? What if you buy a house now and it does go down? What happened? Well, most of the time, here's the thing, 70 to 80% of the people buy a house today is for a primary home. As long as you buy for a primary home, you live in a house, okay? Eventually, even if it goes down next year, okay? For example, if it went down next year, you still keeping the house. You keep the house and then keep making the payments, eventually the real estate price is gonna go up for the long term. So that is the benefit of real estate, right? So as long as you have that, you should be okay regardless. And here's the thing, as you see, there's not a lot of competition coming in, right? Inventory is still up. That signal you have a strong negotiation power on pricing on that house, okay? So number one. Number two, interest rate drop. Some people are waiting for 4 to 5%. That will be very challenging to have that, because the only time that we have that for the last 10 years is during COVID. So either you have to have another COVID or another crazy event happening to get that interest rate. So instead of waiting for that, I would say, okay, find some more creative option. For example, if you are interested in a new build, they do have option for like 3.75 or 3.99 interest rate. So those are already at around 4. Okay, so that could be an option, or you can negotiate to get the seller concession and buy down the interest rate. So that's another option for you in terms of the interest rate, instead of waiting for the thing that may or may not happen. But of course, job security is a valid concern, especially with the economy nowadays. It seems like everyone is slowly. So that is the reason why anytime that I have a potential buyers, I always sit down with that buyers and say, hey, how much you have in the monthly basis? What is the comfortable monthly payment for the house? Because think about it, you have to live in one place regardless, right? Either you rent or either you buy a house. So if you're comfortable with that rent payment, let's use that and calculate how much of the home you can buy with that monthly payment, right? So that your monthly payment doesn't change at the minimum. Okay, but you can also think, okay, the house is more advantage, so you can willing to pay a little bit higher. Start with something that you feel comfortable instead of something you cannot control about. That's my advice. All right, now let's go next to more interesting topic, the Comfort Market Index. We see a very, very different Comfort Market Index compared to the previous presentation. So let's dive in right now. Overall, we actually see a 1.3% average negative change compared to the previous months. Okay, so that is showing the seller momentum weakened. Okay, before we see like the seller has more and more negotiation power, right? This week is actually it's the first week that we have the negative average CMI change. So the seller, be careful, because your momentum, your negotiation power could go away very quickly. Okay, more cities are now moving in favor of the buyers. Okay, over the last 7 days, actually 12 cities out of 18 cities that become more buyer friendly, and 6 cities is trending toward the buyers. We're talking about Fountain Hills, Chandler, Cave Creek, Paradise Valley, Avondale, Queen Creek. So those are the cities that moving towards the Chandler. Toward the buyer side. The 30 days average of CMI is still up 2.1%, but this is actually down also from 5.8% increase compared to last week. Okay, so this tells us something. Seller-friendly trend is losing, and the market is very close to reverse direction. As you know, for the last 2 or 3 weeks, we see that the seller momentum gained very, very strong, and now it's starting to reverse. The buyers starting to have negotiation power again. Where the seller is still have some advantage, we're talking about Phoenix, Glendale, Mesa, Maricopa, and Surprise. Maricopa has some advantage in seller because it's actually increased 8% compared to the previous period. We currently have total of 9 sellers market. We're talking about Fountain Hills, Chandler, Gilbert, Phoenix, Scottsdale, Mesa, Glendale, Tempe, and Cave Creek. Peoria right there at the balance table, okay? Including Peoria, Paradise Valley, and Avondale. Those are the balanced cities. 6 other cities is actually in the buyer's market. So when we talk about buyer's market, that means the buyers has more negotiation power. Maricopa, Buckeye, Green Creek, Surprise, Sunshine Valley, Goodyear. Those are the area, like kind of outskirt area, and you have more negotiation power when you buy a home in those areas. Next, last but not least, okay, we are going to talk about some of the inventory charge across the country. Okay, so each of the line here is represent 1 year for the entire country. Okay, so this chart shows active monthly housing inventory measured in thousands. So you see like 1 million right here, 1.2 million right here, 800,000 right here. In 2025, as you see, right, most recent year, the inventory is higher than any other year before. Except for like 2017, 18, 19, the inventory may be going lower, these gray area, but like 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 2025 is the highest. Okay, 2025 is the highest compared to, other previous year. Okay, so we can compare today market. This is more like today market, and the gray area and the gray line is like the pre-pandemic market. The pandemic and the post-pandemic is actually in color. Okay, what stands out immediately is that the inventory has been rebuilt gradually after the COVID, right? Not suddenly, not a huge jump, but it gradually, slowly. In 2020 and 2021, 2020 here and 2021 is here, the orange color, inventory collapsed as demand surged and the seller stay put, right? It's actually the seller stay put, meaning like they don't need to do a lot of effort to sell it very quickly and very fast. Okay, starting 2022, we see that it's going up again. Okay, 2023 is going up a little bit higher. 4 is way higher, and 5 is a little bit higher. Now look at the 2025 inventory peak around mid-year and began to plateau. Okay, doesn't change much. In fact, it's going down toward the end of the year, landing just over 1.07 million active listing in November, which is about 12.6% year over year. That tells us something important. Yes, there are more homes for sale than last year, but inventory is still way well below pre-pandemic normals. This is the normal trend that we had been known before COVID. So these line right here is well, in the like kind of unique, similar to each other. Even 2025 as the highest level after COVID is still below the pre-pandemic level. So that means this is not an oversupply market. We see more homes for sale on the market, but it doesn't mean that it is like at an extremely high supply level that could cause the market crash. So for those of you who, like I said, the other slide, right, waiting for the market to crash, waiting for the price go lower, you probably have to wait for a very long time. Okay, well, thank you so much everyone for watching today's episode. If you do have any question about the real estate market in Chandler, in Arizona, please contact me for more information.